So not relying on some secret technology, just on strong play.
The deck doesn't really have much in the way of flex slots. You can change some of your fancy lands.
Yeah, I mean, your deck's built on tutors. There are things you can do.
There's only so many good lands, but yeah, there are some changes you can make. And your minor changes actually can swing matchups in pretty big ways because they are tutors.
Turn 1 Sakura Tribe Scout from Edgar. And that's going to be pretty good in this matchup. We see Noble Hierarch from Todd. That Tribe Scout goes uncontested in this matchup, which is a pretty big deal.
Yes. When you activate Tribe Scout, you just get way ahead on mana. You can start seeing turn 2 or 3 Primeval Titans. Yeah,
plays Simic Growth Chamber, picks up the basic forest. Tribe Scout also actually gives Edgar some extra play against cards like Ghost Quarter.
Yeah, if you just activate the Tribe Scout in response, put a bounce land in, pick up the land being targeted by the Ghost Quarter.
So Todd Stevens has drawn a sideboard card game 1, and he is not self-calling on it.
What's the card? He has made that copy too.
Okay. And an interesting one here, Ryan. I first thought Todd had drawn a sideboard card, because you saw he picked up Worship as he makes a turn 2 Nether Reliquary. But here's the thing, it's not a sideboard card. He has one in the main.
How does your Amulet deck do against Worship?
Well, there is a Pact of Negation.
Uh-huh.
So I have to remove all your creatures? That's fine. We'll get a really big Walking Ballista.
Okay.
And we have a lot of mana when we get going.
Sure.
It'll be work, don't get me wrong. Here on See from Edgar, it's going to be Azusa. 2 more bounce lands, replays Radiant Fountain, goes to 22. But yeah, that's the way he'll try to deal with it. He has 1 Engineered Explosives and 1 Walking Ballista main deck. So he will actually just, the only way he can get around it is by removing all the creatures. You can't remove the, well, you can remove the Worship, actually.
He has 4 colors of mana. You can Explosives that away.
Yeah, it's not too much of a problem. And he has the Blue Pact in his hand as well.
There's few cards in Magic that I dislike more than Worship. Hexproof Creature plus Worship has stolen many games from me.
Let's see, on Todd's turn 3 here, Edgar is set up to make a turn 4 Primeval Titan with many extra land drops. He has Summoner's Pact, Primeval Titan, and Pact of Negation in hand. Can't cast the Pact of Negation, he only has single blue. Todd's going to get a Ghost Quarter.
You would need to be able to Tribe Scout an untapped blue to do that. That's not available.
Yeah, the danger here, Edgar does not have... See, Todd's going to Ghost Quarter him. If Edgar had another bounce land, this Tribe Scout would protect him from the Ghost Quarter. He does not. So this will actually work. It'll set Edgar back 1 mana. And Todd makes Ramanap Excavator.
It's still no land for the turn, so that Ghost Quarter is coming back.
It's coming back.
Because of things like Explosives, this line, it puts a lot more pressure on than just casting the Worship.
And he'll go again at the Simic Growth Chamber. There is 1 more forest in Edgar's deck.
Now, what Todd really wants to do is have his own Azusa.
Yes.
1 main deck copy.
And Simic Growth Chamber will turn into that 3rd forest. That is the last basic for Edgar. Sometimes you'll see a basic island. He's not playing one today. However, Edgar actually has 4 land drop this turn. If he draws a bounce land, he can tap 4, bounce land, replay a forest, tap it, bounce land, replay a forest, tap it, and actually still make Primeval Titan.
Yikes.
Top 5 finds Gruul Turf. But now he's down to 3, and it's unclear if he can make that play. What he can do is hold the Gruul Turf in his hand. Next turn, go for the same line. And if Todd tries to Ghost Quarter him next turn, he'll pick up the Ghost Quarter target with the Gruul Turf.
Right.
And he says go, so he's kind of leading toward that play.
Figure things would be a bit easier if Edgar had the namesake card.
Yeah, well, that would certainly be easier if he had, if he can find an amulet. And it might be because Todd has another planes in play. So he attacks with Ramanap Excavator.
He attacks for a bingo? For a bingo. I believe that's for a bingo.
Okay, well, at least now we've learned the new rules of the game, and we'll get you next time. One of these times. I will win one of them.
Theoretically.
Makes Voice of Resurgence and gets Ghost Quarter back. This, I think, is a misstep on Todd's side. I kind of want to walk you through here. If Todd had put Ghost Quarter out of the graveyard, quartered, let Edgar pick up the quarter with the Gruul Turf, then sacked the Plains to get another Ghost Quarter, I think he would have been able to deny Primeval Titan. I'm not sure he can anymore.
Yeah. In Todd's mind, and the reason that you make this play, he's leaving up Ghost Quarter here. He can still Knight for the quarter at instant speed. Those things are harder to execute during Edgar's turn.
Well, what he can do is he can wait until, see, Edgar makes Teleria West and says go. If Edgar had gone for the 6 mana play here, tap for the thing I talked about where he bounces the forests, when the bounce land is played, Todd could have Ghost Quartered the bounce land, and then this doesn't work. Knight of the Reliquary going to try to turn that Plains into another. I assume just keep going for Ghost Quarters.
Yes. It seems like what Todd kind of wants to do is set up so he just has Ghost Quarters activated. He actually just gets a fetch land here. I thought he might have been trying to set up just to have 2 Ghost Quarters, use 1 at a time, and then just have 2 at the ready.
Yeah, I like that.
He can still set up to do that because he gets his land drop next turn. He can use the Knight again. And he gets the fetch land and that forest out of the deck, so we won't be drawing those this turn. The Knight of the Reliquary just getting gigantic. This is just green-white. There's no Kessig Wolf runs or what have you in the deck. So Edgar should have the chance to do some chump blocking against that.
And Excavator will attack again. What he's doing right now is just, so now if he gets to untap, he will be able to make Primeval Titan regardless of what Todd does. He has 5 mana, makes Ghost Quarter, makes Cruel Turf, floats 5. Regardless of what happens, he picks up all land, replays it, makes 6, makes Titan.
Yep.
Todd has to go to work this turn in a big way. He needs 2 Ghost Quarters to keep Edgar off of Titan.
Todd's looking at playing a different land.
Well, Knight can still find another Ghost Quarter. He still could make 2 this turn.
Right. But
you're right.
If you just use the Excavator to play a Ghost Quarter, you have 3 this turn instead of just 2.
The way I'd want to see Todd play this was just quarter, get quarter out of yard, quarter him again, tap Knight, get another quarter, quarter him again.
Right.
Like just go nuts on his lands. Just stop playing other things. Once you get all his lands, then you can start doing something.
Right.
But nothing until then. Another Knight of the Reliquary for Todd.
That's fine.
If he lets Edgar untap and go to Edgar's main phase, he's going to make a Primeval Titan.
These Knights have gotten really large, though. What's that, 6 lands in the graveyard currently?
Yeah, and Edgar can just Engineered Explosives them.
That's a problem.
And he gets to draw. There should be a Primeval Titan here.
Todd still, because of that untap, the old Knight representing 2 Ghost Quarters here.
Yeah, this is a mistake on. This could hurt on Todd's side. So 5 mana, plays Gruul Turf. This is his first land for the turn. Picks up. I mean, Todd might want to Ghost Quarter away the Teleria West here.
Yeah, just allowing Edgar to transmute that might not be ideal.
Yeah, I mean, what Edgar's going to hope to do is get enough mana. If he can get a Teleria West in his hand, and then like a bunch of, and it sounds kind of weird, a bunch of gemstone mines in his hand. He has so many land drops per turn that he can just like make 3 gemstones, transmute for an Engineer Explosives, make 3 gemstone mines again, get the explosives on 3, and work from there.
And here comes that Primeval Titan. Still no Amulet, so we'll just be finding a couple lands tapped here.
All right, so 2 land drops done. He bounces Radiant Fountain, replays it, and now he makes Primeval Titan. This was avoidable on Todd's side, and it's we'll see what happens. Now the game's interesting.
Yeah.
But I mean, the hard thing is Amulet sometimes seems like a mid-range deck, but it is a ramp deck at the end of the day. If you just blow up all their lands.
Yeah, and Todd hasn't activated a Ghost Quarter since Edgar had found his last forest.
Yeah.
Possibly Todd doesn't know that it's just Strip Mine now.
That's true. It's the range on number of basics for Amulet is 4 is kind of you see anywhere from 2 to 4 in the main. You see Simic Growth Chamber, Teleria West from the Primeval Titan for Edgar. Todd would have to double strip mine if he doesn't want Edgar picking up one of these two Teleria Wests. And Todd says, sure. So I believe Edgar will probably pick up a T West then, no problem. Actually, and oh, this is nicer. He's going to pick up a bounce land.
Yeah, that combines
That's
with
better.
the Tribe
That's
Scout.
better.
You can block against Ghost Quarter.
He's leaving the Growth Chamber in play because it helps him transmute eventually. And this helps him deny. Picking up a bounce land plays defense against a Ghost Quarter. This was really well done by Edgar.
Ooh, and Edgar does have a main deck Bajuka Bog, so whenever he wants, he can shrink those knights.
Yeah, the main deck Bajuka Bog, that's really, you generally see that. Ever since Storm got big, you started seeing that.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to cover those Past in Flames wins.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's going to come up against decks like Hollow One as well. But I figure you do a pretty good job of racing that deck. You don't want to discard the wrong cards.
I don't really like that. Amulets, since Summer Bloom went away, it's not as fast as it used to be. It's probably just slower than Hollow One.
Sure.
Their turn ones, you kind of just stare at, and then lose to.
I guess only your best hands are keeping pace.
Yeah. And Todd getting a Temple Garden. He has 4 quarters, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm seeing 4 quarters. I'm seeing 1, but I mean on the deck list I see 4.
There should be more. And it's fair, this is not a matchup. To be fair, there's only about, on the tournament level, 4 people play the deck. You don't get a lot of experience on this one.
Yeah. Can't imagine that Stevens has played this matchup much. But Stevens also playing a pretty obscure deck. He's pretty much the only person that plays this, but that just doesn't really matter as much on Edgar's side.
Right, because Amulet's like the hammer in the situation, and he's like, well, if I don't know what something is, I'll just treat it like it's a nail. It's all right. I'll do my thing, see if it.
Yeah. Did I win?
Yeah. Like I made Titan. 3 mana from Todd. Worship. Once again, that's not going to matter.
Yeah, Edgar inevitably able to use Walking Ballista or just Engineered Explosives to deal with this.
Yeah, well, it's probably EE hits creatures. Ballista will matter. Both Edgar's teammates taking game 1, both Matthew Dilks and Tarek Patel win over their Grixis opponents. Yeah, once Edgar gets this Primeval Titan package going, dealing with all of this stuff that Todd has is going to happen. So it'll be, the graveyard will get bogged, the EE will sweep some creatures, the Ballista will sweep the rest of them. Something like that's going to happen.
Yep.
And it's going to happen quicker than you might think, too.
Yes, things get really out of control once you start untapping with Primeval Titan.
Right. I mean, it's a double tutor every turn.
It's banned in Commander.
That's how you know it's good.
Yeah, we also see a lot of Sylvan Primordials in Modern.
Where are we with priority? All right, so bounce land trigger on the stack. Todd's going to make some plays here, but what Edgar's done is he's waited to do this until he had another bounce land. As Todd, he goes for double Ghost Quarter. I think.
It looks like those Teleria Wests got hit there.
Both got hit? Okay. So no transmuting for Edgar.
No. Picks up the Radiant Fountain instead.
Another Azusa. So he's not going to have, well, he needs to find the Engineered Explosives to get it on 3, but he's running out of time for that. And Teleria West was his path to doing that.
Yeah, perhaps that activation on the Tribe Scout was a little aggressive. I guess there's so many Ghost Quarters, though. Unclear what he can really do.
So we get Bajuka Bog and Cement Growth Chamber. He'll bog away Todd's graveyard, and he got all the ghosts. There's 3 Ghost Cores in the yard, 1 left in Todd's deck.
That's reasonable to deal with, though the Knight will find the 4th.
Well, but what we have here is a possibility to get it, because there's a bounce trigger on the stack. And if Edgar can somehow quarter, we'll see what happens with that Bajuka Bog. Because if he can get the last Ghost Quarter exiled, he's fine again. And the last Ghost Quarter was used on the Bajuka Bugs to stop exactly that.
Yep, Edgar wanted to pick that up with the growth Chamber trigger there. Todd with that on the stack goes and finds the last Ghost Quarter.
Ideally what would have happened, Ryan, is that Edgar would have drawn a bounce land for the turn, and when Todd went for this play, he would have tapped his Tribe Scout and said, no, I insist, and picked up the Bog. He missed that draw, so wasn't able to, but it's possible the previous turn, if it's when he picked up Radiant Fountain, if he'd picked up one of his bounce lands instead, Edgar would have been able to defend that Bazooka Bog.
Yeah. I think you're seeing some minor missteps, and the deck is nearly impossible to play as far as I
When
understand.
there's a game like this that goes as many turns as it has, every person who plays Amulet is going to like watch the tape.
Yeah.
And you see Summoner's Pact for Primeval Titan as a follow-up for Edgar, now that everything's tapped, is going to accomplish most of the same thing because he gets Simic Growth Chamber and Teleri West. He actually gets a Teleri West in his hand this way.
Yeah, he forced through those Ghost Quarters.
It's unclear. Yeah, he sees he has a Bog and Growth Chamber in his hand, so he has to get a bounce land. He has to decide if he wants Growth Chamber or something else, assuming that everything gets Ghost Quartered. He'll take Simic Growth Chamber. The question will be whether or not Edgar can make double blue next turn.
Yeah, a bunch of forests on the battlefield. 2 Growth Chambers now. We'll find out how many of those maintains with his Ghost Quarters.
Yeah. Plays Radiant Fountain. Well, what can...
Yeah, another Growth Chamber in hand, though. Edgar can Tribe Scout that in.
To defend. Yeah, now that he
Yeah.
has an untapped Tribe Scout and an extra bounce land in hand, he can play defense.
Todd really wants to find his one Azusa.
Yes. That'd be pretty big. I don't know how... Can he cast it?
He has a Hierarch and a Temple Garden, and then he has
Yeah,
Night
probably.
Activation. Seems like he has plenty of mana. I think his hand is a little full on Collected Companies, or there's at least one Collected Company. Looks like Lands, Noble Hierarch, Collected Company, something like Voice Resurgence.
Ghost Quarter going to shoot off, and this is where Edgar gets him. He's going to use the bounce land to pick up a bounce land. And now with that untapped Tribe Scout, he's just defending against Ghost Quarter. Edgar has gained control. And now we're going to watch the closeout. I imagine the Bazooka Bog's gone. He can't get it back. He doesn't have a Ramanap Excavator or anything like that. It might just be as simple as just eventually getting a large Walking Ballista.
Yeah, these Primeval Titan hits, Todd is down to 10.
Yeah, or just an Engineered Explosives on 3 is really good here.
Yeah, that makes attack
Yeah.
complete with the Titans pretty easy.
Yeah, upkeep, he's got to pay for that pact.
It would be unwise not to do that.
He'll do it. Well, remember, there's the worship in play, so he still has to mow down all the creatures at some point.
The matter of the worship.
That's fine. It'll happen.
Yeah, ideally, both of the other matches just go the same way and we don't have to slog through this.
Well, so, all right. So the line to get these knights off the table. You transmute. First, you transmute for an Engineered Explosives. You can attack getting a bounce land and a gemstone mine with a Titan, suicide it off, pick up the gemstone mine, replay it post-combat, make Engineered Explosives on 3 and crack. You just need to find a third color that can be untapped this turn.
Yeah.
There's probably a better line than that too. That's the first one that comes to mind.
Yeah. This deck can do some things.
Yeah, it's great. Attacks with both Titans. Sure. Triggers.
I like hearing stories about players working on picking up this deck for the first time.
Oh yeah, it's
usually
embarrassing.
Like, I 0-3'd my first 4 leagues, and the advice is like, yeah, that's going to keep happening for a while.
The worst part I say is, and they're like, maybe forever.
Yeah, that might not change.
Sometimes you'll get to the 5th, the 20 leagues in, and then I've seen people that say, this isn't, I'm still not winning.
The important thing to remember is that your losses are all your fault.
Yes. So gets bounce land, Colony Garden, making a 0-1. That's not really going to matter here. It's some value, though. And then this is the part of 2 gemstone mines. Basket gemstone mine bounce land. He's doing this, and that's the thing I talked about where he's doing this play so that he can pick up a non-blue-green mana source and replay it with an Azusa this turn. Mm-hmm. This is the second one, and I think he's just going to pick up the gemstone mine to the trigger once Todd, resolves it. He needs an untapped third color to make EE on 3.
Yep.
Maybe he's not. It looks like he's just going to pick up Radiant Fountain. I mean, he doesn't actually have to EE on 3 here at a certain level. He puts Todd to 1.
It's going to take Todd a while to find a way to win this game.
Yeah, Azusa would be the 1, and he has Pact of Negation in hand.
Yeah.
So it's not... Technically, Edgar doesn't... I guess I like this because he's not committing to anything until he has to.
Right.
So, yeah, that's good.
Yeah. Edgar not really under any meaningful pressure. You see he's over 20 life.
Right. I mean, eventually, he transmutes Solari West. It's either going to be for EE here or Walking Ballista. Both of them would probably win. This is his last Solari West as well. The other 2 were Ghost Quartered.
You got to do the math on how the Walking Ballista lines up against the Knight of the Reliquaries. So if you just clean up the hierarchs, then you're still drawing, defining explosives, dealing with all the 3s at the same time.
I mean, eventually, there's a lot of mana in play.
Sure, the Ballista grows over time, but Todd's deck is definitely full of Path to Exiles.
Yeah, you don't want to have that happen.
Yep.
That's true. He'll get Engineered Explosives. This means when he wants to find the Ballista, he's just going to have to do it the old-fashioned way of drawing it. He can Stirrings for it.
His deck's a lot smaller than when we started this game.
Oh yeah, that's when you get to these late games, you'll like look at your library and it'll be 16 cards or something. It's like, man, that's nice.
Difficult to shuffle because there's not very many cards left.
Yeah. Knight's not going to matter here.
No. And there's a lot of concern on Todd Stevens' side about actually being able to close this game.
Well, I'm not sure he can anymore.
Yeah, there's just a ton going on in the way of blockers and life gain on the other side.
Yeah, Radiant Fountain does work.
Edgar also presenting some inevitability, as we've been discussing, with Walking Ballista plus Engineered Explosives.
Could just EE away the Worship.
Yeah.
Depending on how big the Knights get, that might not work.
Well,
it probably does, because
if you have EE plus Ballista, you just EE the Worship.
Yeah, I
go
mean,
for lethal with
you
the
might be able to do it
Ballista.
with just the explosives. You can attack with the Titans.
Yeah.
You can bounce your double strike land into hand, Tribe Scout it into play in combat, like mow your way through the Knights that way.
Well, Todd has to block. I mean, he's not going to block as long as he has the Worship.
Yeah, if there's an EE on 4, he'll probably block.
That makes sense.
I know that deep,
well,
deep strategic.
When the E is on 4,
yeah,
that's kind of trivial beating the Worship from there.
Yeah,
he also just has a wider battlefield, right? Or it's pretty close. What do we have? 6 creatures for Stevens. I guess it's even there.
Tarek Patel wins the standard match 2-0 over Kevin Jones.
It is wider if we get to a point where you have Plant Token plus Slayer Stronghold.
All right, here is Collected Company. I think Todd's trying to find Azusa.
Game's going pretty late for that to matter anymore.
Yeah. And it's another Knight of the Reliquary. I mean, this is into the Engineered Explosives, though. It's going to be set on 3. None of this should matter.
Nope. Yeah, E on 3 and 4, both looking like pretty convincingly winning lines. I think Scavenging Ooze the second card picked there. That card does not do much in this matchup. When cards go to Edgar's graveyard, they pretty much stay there.
Draw here from Edgar. Explore.
Redraw.
Sure. Unclear if he needs to draw anything. I guess if...
There's some draws that make it very easy, but you're right.
Yeah.
Game looks to be pretty solidly in his favor as it is.
I just want to crack that for 3. It's like all of Todd's board. But because Edgar already has control of the board, it's not necessary for him to do that.
Yeah, if you do it for 3, then you definitely need to find Ballista, right? Because you have to deal with the 1-mana creatures.
Yeah, then if once you use it for 3, then the only way around Ballista is the only way around Worship. You have to beat it manually.
There's some setups where you can do it for 4 and just like punch through the creatures.
Yeah, with his Bazooka Bog gone, that's harder.
Yeah.
He has to do it with the combination of all his red-white lands.
Triple Knight is scary.
Yeah.
He has so much mana. Starting with Explore just makes sense, right?
Sure.
3 p.m. Legacy players.
Gets another Gruul Turf.
Please find your seats.
Yeah, losing that Bog was not irrelevant.
Right.
I think that's the one area of the game where I don't know that I think Edgar may have unnecessarily lost the Bog.
Yeah.
But he's been playing this very well.
It would be really easy to punch through these Knights if we still had the Bog.
Four mana here. Maybe he's E. We'll see if that's what the EE is set for.
2 of those lands were green.
So 5?
This might just be play plus crack mana.
Yeah, EE on 3 and crack it.
Oh, it's on 4, it looks like.
It's on 4. Okay, so he wants to get around Worship that way. That may work. I guess he's just saying that's just safer. The worry about setting EE on 3 is that then you need Ballista to win, and it's possible that Todd rebuilds his board and kills you before you find your Ballista.
Yeah.
If he just like holds enough paths.
Yeah, well, also with that 3rd Knight coming down, you can really start to mow through here.
Yeah. I mean, what Edgar can... He has plays around that, but... I mean, eventually you can make tons of mana for your eventual Ballista just by making bunches of Amulet of Vigors when you eventually draw them.
Yeah.
Here's a swing, a bunch more triggers. And, oh, okay. He's swinging with, I like this, he's swinging with 5 creatures. He's leaving 1 Tribe Scout untapped so that he can, here's my thought. I believe what he's going to do, he's going to bounce the Slayer Stronghold to his hand, and then wait until something isn't blocked, then use that Tribe Scout to put Slayer Stronghold into play, pump the thing that isn't blocked, and then blow up the Worship.
So can Todd not just play around this by blocking everything? How big are the Knights? 2 of them are active, so they can get even bigger. I think that they're...
Yeah, well, the issue is, yeah. So Todd has 6 blockers.
Knight on Titan, Knight on Titan. Also, Knight activation.
Yeah,
There's still another Plains in the deck or something. You can still cast Path to Exile.
I guess if Edgar wanted to make that line, he probably would have swung with the plant tokens too.
Yeah.
We'll see what's up.
Definitely an unusual game. I don't think anyone's played anything like this at F&M.
These are like the games that I play the deck for. This would make my whole tournament.
I would never play the deck again if I had to play a game like this.
This is so much. See, it's great.
Yeah, Todd lining up to block everything. Can even put 2 Knights in front of something if he wants.
Yeah, but he could have played around the path with that Pact negation, if that was the worry.
True.
Todd
Looks
blocks,
like
and
Edgar's scooping him up on that block.
Okay.
I think
Looks like Todd made the correct block.
Yeah, he's hoping that Todd wouldn't see to block everything, I guess.
If that's the result, we'll confirm that. It looks like Edgar got the game.
Okay.
Please make your way back to
Do you know why?
stage. Your event is ready to begin. Again,
What was the size on the Knights?
I think there was 3 or I think it was 4 lands in graveyard.
+2 all the Titan it tramples over.
Okay. They couldn't just activate it out of that?
Well,
Were the other blocks too small that +2
no,
+0
no.
would
If
rock
2-0
them?
goes over the top of the Knight, how do you
Activate 2 Knights.
Unclear.
Yeah, it must have been like 2 toughness creature against Stronghold and something
Stronghold
else.
doesn't give trample.
Oh. You're right.
Yeah, trample damage. Trample damage. The Titans have trample.
Sure. Did he Sun Home one?
He didn't have Sun Home.
Well, that makes it tough.
But if the 2-0 tramples over the top, if Taz not able to grow the Knights enough to have 2-0 not trample over the top, then we're good.
Sure.
Either way, Edgar Magalhaes is going to go to game 2. Thanks for bearing with us on that one. I believe that's the line, as he says, pump the Titan.
Sure.
We'll confirm on that. They'll be ready for game number 2, and we'll be there in just a minute.